Right, hello everyone, welcome back to Age of Nagash. The reason why you are watching this video is to know how to start Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, and I'm going to do my absolute best to tell you. But before we get started, all I ask is if you could smash the like and subscribe button, and I'll, love you forever. And if you don't press it, I'll be so upset that I will actually cry. Right, just one more thing I want to quickly randomly interject into this video before we get started, and that is that I have finally ordered myself a t-shirt with my logo on it. Why have I done that? Just because I always include myself now in most of my videos, and like the top left of the screen, I thought it would just feel a bit more professional if I have a t-shirt with my logo on it. Simple as that. So we've got my logo here, and then we're going to have Age of Nagash written on the back, and this is a little bit of a hint towards some battle reports I've got planned coming up sometime soon to you guys, so the channel feels, that bit more professionalism. And I'll be honest, this is not a merch drop or anything like that. I literally just ordered one of these, and I ordered a vest that is weird, like the logo's down here, so I don't know if I'll wear it, we will see. But if anyone's interested in anything like this, that sort of like merch and design, because I've had some people ask me about it before, let me know in the comments of this video, then maybe one day I'll look into doing it. But anyway, let's crack on. You can't even really see the logo from here, can you? Well, I'll get that sorted. So what I want to say, what we'll get to in this video, is I'll do everything on how to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, and even if it's from transitioning from 2nd edition or you're brand new to the hobby, that'll be included in this video. But also we're going to be looking at things like, should you buy Warhammer Age of Sigmar Dominion when it's still available, and should you instead buy maybe the other box sets that have came out for Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, which are, I can't remember the specific names of them now, but we'll get to them later, and they're just mini versions of the Dominion box set. Some of you came from Warhammer 40k when Indomitus came out, and then everyone who tried to buy one of those got one, kind of, and they got made to order, so I think most people were happy. With this, what they've done is there's no made to order, but there's more copies of Dominion available, but they'll sell out eventually, and then you're just going to have these free starter boxes left. Of course, you do have the option of things like start collecting boxes and everything like that, but we'll get into that later. I just want to include what we'll be looking at here, and there's also some paint sets they brought out, what we'll be looking at as well. And I have actually been, I was recording this video and then I had to stop because they released this extra information in an article about these extra boxes, so I thought, I'll redo the video again and include them because that would be the most relevant thing. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is, what do you actually need to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition? Now, if you're brand new to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, we're going to go through a long list here. However, if you have already been playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, all you're going to need is the core rulebook and then the current General's Handbook, which is this year, 2021. But obviously, if you're watching this in a year from now, let's say, just get the one that's 2022 on it as a example. So, what you'll be looking at if you are brand new is, firstly, you need money, as Games Workshop is very much a company that cares a lot about your money and would rather care about your money from a perspective of owning it. So you need money, but people always say Warhammer is such an expensive hobby, which it's not cheap. But it is one of those things where, I know people who do like clay pigeon shooting, or I know people who do, sailing, or I'm just listing loads of other expensive hobbies that I don't really know too many people who do them. But the point is, it's not the only expensive hobby out there, and there are many more out there, and I get enough back from what I put into this hobby from my point of view and from most people I know's point of views. Anyway, so you need money, firstly. The next thing you're going to need is models. So it could be any models you like in the Warhammer Age of Sigmar range, or if you don't really play in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but if you don't really play in Warhammer stores, obviously you can use third-party models and all that sort of thing. It's not really much of a problem, but I'd say start with Age of Sigmar models and get your bearings and stuff. And then you're going to need things like hobby clippers, which is obviously just to cut the models off the sprues, which we call the sheet of plastics that the models come on. And then you're going to need things like a hobby knife for when you cut off those models off these sprues. It's just to clean up the plastic, so like you don't have like an extra a lump there or something on this leg from where you've cut it off. So you get a hobby knife. Mold line remover is just to remove like lines that are left by the molds that make the plastic. Sounds all very technical, but once you get started, you'll know what I mean. Then you're going to need things like hobby paint. I say hobby paint just because Don't go to B&Q and buy a huge pot of paint and think that that's going to work. And you don't have to get Warhammer Age of Sigmar or just in general Warhammer Citadel paints. I've just put them on a picture there because there was a nice colourful picture. You can get, I've been told things like, army painters, been told like Vallejo is a good one as well. I've personally only used Citadel, so that's how I can talk about them. And that's not like, oh, because Citadel are the best. It's just because I've used Citadel as a kid, and that part of me hasn't grown out enough to be able to try other paints, and they're just find them easier to buy because you go to your hobby store, anything like that. The Citadel ones are there. But yeah, there's lots of ones you can try out. But what I would say is there's things called a contrast range, which can get your models, particularly if you're quite new to the game and you want to get your models painted on the table to play with. Contrast paints can be fantastic for that. Essentially what they are is you spray a model a light colour, so let's say white, and then you put a contrast paint on it, which is basically a very, 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 very thin paint, and you put that over it, and then it does a lot of the work for you rather than having to do loads and loads of layers. And then the next thing you're going to need is like hobby paintbrushes. Now, my view on hobby paintbrushes, I'm someone who's bought loads of Games Workshop Citadel paintbrushes before in the past, and I've always been quite disappointed because I say it down to my painter technique, but I do use brush soap, I do take care of them, and I find the brushes don't really last very long. So although this does not sound very sustainable, but what I would rather do is something that I've been doing now, which is I'll just buy a pack of brushes at a relatively cheap price, somewhere online, an online website for like £10. You get, I don't know, 8 brushes in there. They're all okay, do the job, and then they only last like a week or two, but that's the kind of the rate I was going through with Games Workshop brushes anyway. And then when you're done with them, don't throw them away straight away. Use them as a dry brush. Any brush that is really quite busted up, use as a dry brush, which if you're wondering is basically a technique you do when you're doing your hobby if you're particularly new, which we'll get to later. But what you're going to need after that is dice. So again, this is a dice rolling game. So when you need dice, I really mean a bucket load of dice, not just like, 1 or 2, which you used to play Monopoly or something like that. You need seriously loads. Obviously it depends on what army you're playing, but if you're playing a horde army, you're going to need much more than someone who's playing, I don't know, a Flesh Eater Court monster army as an example. And then you need a tape measure to do your measurements, obviously, and then you need, going on to people, like I said, if you're coming from Age of Sigmar, is the core rulebook and the current General's Handbook 2021, which obviously if you're coming from already playing Age of Sigmar, you know they are. But if you don't know and you're brand new, basically the core rulebook is going to have all the rules you need in the game. So it's going to have things like the basic rules, and it's like if you want to add more narrative story to your games, what to do, or if you're brand new and you just want to put all your collections on the table, how does that work? Multiplayer battles, there's probably something about sieges in there as well. Just looking down at my copy. So you want to get your hands on that book, and there's loads of fantastic artwork to inspire you, people's collections of models all fully painted, and loads and loads and loads of lore. So if you're wondering what lore is, basically just the story, the narrative of the game. If you really want that as something to sink into, to help you come up with your own stories for your own armies and help you maybe choose what army you want to play yourself. And the next thing is the current General's Handbook, which, like I say, basically this is leaning more towards I don't want to just say competitive side, but it's more towards what we call match play games. And what that means is, again, used for competitiveness. So like tournament plays, you'll need the General's Handbook. A lot of the rules from there will be there. But also things for like points for models. So if you're brand new to it, let's say you've got 5 Blood Knights, which I picked that example because we've got like 5 of them right here. What that means is that those 5 models have a points cost. And let's say they're, I'm trying to remember the points now, I think 180, 190, roughly about that. And then what that means is your opponent will also have point costs for their models. And let's say you agree to play a 2,000 point game. So that means you bring 2,000 points to your models, your opponent brings 2,000 points to their models. And then that means that you both have, as best can be, a balanced game for when you really want to try your meta against each other and see who is the best when the points are equal. Again, balance is a very fine thing to try and achieve in this game, but for the most part, it's there, bar some armies. But yeah, so that's mainly what you're going to get out of that current General's Handbook to try and make your games a bit more competitive. And then the next thing I want to talk about is Dominion. So now that you know really what Warhammer Age of Sigmar is and how to get into it, and what you need to finally, not finally, but firstly start off, what do you want to do to get a lot of that stuff, right? So how do you want to acquire the models? How do you want to acquire the rulebooks? Well, one of the ways to be able to do that is the Dominion box set. So if you're wondering what Dominion is, it's the big box set that's came out for Warhammer Age of Sigmar to celebrate and to launch Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition. And what you've got in there is you've got the Stormcast Eternals, the poster boys of the Age of Sigmar. If you've seen some guys in golden armour with like blue shoulder pads in front of anything that says Age of Sigmar, it's the Stormcast Eternals. And then you've got them against the new and more sort of seriously scary looking orcs within Warhammer Age of Sigmar, or orcs as they're called to make them copyright legal, is going to be the Cruel Boys from the Orc War Clan. So we basically got, the first thing if you are new to Warhammer is there's no really like black and white on who's good and who's bad, but there are variant shades of grey. And on one of the, supposedly, the good guys shade of grey is the Stormcast Eternals, so they're the good guys if you like, and then you've got the bad guys who are the orcs in this. And basically, if you can compare this to another sort of like fantasy trope, you've got the demigod good guy beings versus just orcs and goblins. So you've got a very nice sort of like parallel there. If you like playing the good guys, like playing the bad guys, you've got that. So what I've also put down for this, so we're just going to go over like some pros and cons that I've written. So pros, yes, you should get this if you like the armies, as it will not be around forever. It's great value, it gets you the core book, and then you get the then it's perfect if you and a friend are splitting this box set. So what do I mean by all that? Is that this box set will not be around forever. If you're watching this in a year from now, like this, there's probably a good chance this box set isn't available to buy, and especially isn't available to buy in plenty. And the reason for that is, going into my second point, it's great value. Essentially, we don't know the cost of everything in this box is bought separately because it isn't separately available yet, but you can guarantee, this box is 125, I believe it is in the UK. If you buy it from Games Workshop, don't buy it from Games Workshop, buy it from a third-party retailer, a lot cheaper. I bought mine for like £100 as an example. And you can bet your bottom dollar that this is going to be a lot more money if bought separately, probably around the line of about £200. Something we do know the separate price of is the core book. So this little artwork book here, you may recognise from when we were looking at it down here. So what that means is that book alone is £40. And again, apologies if your money and currencies in dollars and stuff. I can't break anything, I just do it for the UK. So that's £40 separately. And this box set is, I believe it might have been 120, but I think it was 125. Yeah, it was 125. To buy. So that means that book is practically a third of this box set already, so you're just paying an extra £80 to get all those models, which would probably cost together collectively, if bought separately, £100 to £200 at least. So it's very good value. And then you want the core rulebook, like I say, to be able to play the game anyway, and you can find most of the rules of the core rulebook online, but if you're like me, and it's not like you're a purist or anything, but it's just like it's nice to have the rules in your own hand rather than going, oh yeah, it's on a PDF somewhere, let me just try and find it on the internet. This one specific thing I need to find to be able to prove my point in a game. And then the next thing is it's perfect if you can split with a friend, because basically if you're getting into Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, and this also implies that if you've been playing 2nd edition and stuff, and you're just like, you and your buddy are like, that new box set looks really good, but you know what? I'm just not feeling the Stormcast. And then your mate goes, well, actually, I don't like the Orcs, but I like the Stormcast. Do you want to split it? Fantastic. You're both going to walk away happy. Obviously, decide who gets the core rulebook, whatever. But the models terms themselves are fantastic. Or if you like myself, where I actually really like the new Stormcast models. Sigh, pain within Nagash's heart to admit that, but I really do. And then I really like, I fall in love with the Cruel Boys. Like, I'm actually paying up like my killer boss right now as an example. So it was perfect for me because I like both armies. I bought the box twice. You don't have to do that, but I did. And then, so as well as all good this is, I do want to say some cons about it. And what I've got down is you do not want the armies, you will have to swap sell them. So I say it's a con, but really, you'll probably make your money back in terms of if you bought this box and you're like, I wanted the core rulebook, I wanted the Cruel Boys as an example, and then, but the Stormcast just got nothing for them, just sell them on to someone else, like, locally nearby, or you do it online, Facebook groups, eBay, etc. There's lots of other ways to do it, or swap it for someone else who bought this box and didn't want the Cruel Boys, and then you swap your Stormcast with their Cruel Boys, and then you've got 2 sets of Cruel Boys, and then that's a way of doing it as well. So it's not really a con, but it's just basically you have to put that extra effort in, or those models are just going to sit around forever, and then it's not really as great value as first thought. But really that's just a con because you have to put a little bit of effort into it, which to be honest isn't really too hard. And then the next thing to say is it's an expensive way to start. So this is particularly if you're new to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, because as well as how good I said the value of this box was, at the end of the day, if you're not really too sure if you're going to like this game, a spoiler, you will really like this game. It's the best game I've played in tabletop wargaming. But if you're not really too sure if you're going to like it and you just want to dip your toes in, buying a box is £125. It's not the cheapest way to dip your toes in, and you can actually start Age of Sigmar with buying a box of, Dead Walker zombies from the Soulblight Graveforce, and just go, that's a box of zombies, that's 20 zombies. How am I meant to play a game with this? You can, because although that's the core rulebook, Age of Sigmar, I believe is still the case, it should be, that the main rules that you need to play the game should still be free and downloadable from Games Workshop PDF. Now, apologies if that's not strictly true, but it should be. They've kept that going for a long time, and I'll be very disappointed if it's not. But you can play with just the War Scrolls and stuff, what are available on the Age of Sigmar app or on the Games Workshop website. So there's much, much cheaper ways to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Like, for example, I got into it by buying a box of Skeleton Warriors, and I played with that for about 3 weeks, just to learn the game. So if you want to just dip your toes in, it is an expensive way to start, but if you can split it with someone, obviously it gets a lot cheaper. And then the next thing is that, really, if you already have too many projects and your pile of shame is huge. So basically, are you just buying this because you're, the fear of missing out? Are you just buying it because you don't really care about the armies, but you think, I'm going to do a project on that one day, and then you never will? Then I would say probably do yourself or your future self a favour and don't buy this box, is what I would say about that. So yeah, that's the Dominion box set. It's really, if you're overall, should you buy it? Like I said, I've laid out the reasons why you should and why you shouldn't. But if you're sort of on the fence about it, but you're like, I really want to get into 3rd edition, I really like these armies, I want to get that cool, but you're kind of already half sold, to be honest, and maybe a bit more, because it's just such good value. So if you're on the fence, buy it, is what I'm going to say, while it's still available. And then the next thing to talk about is going to be the Warrior starter set. So now we're looking at the 3 other starter sets that are going to be around a long time after Dominion is. So if you're, like I said, if you're watching this in a year from now, you go, why is he talking about Dominion for ages? You can't buy it. This is probably still available to you guys. Now, there was an article on this literally, I think it was yesterday. And like I said, I was recording this video and I was like, I'll stop it and I'll do it again. Because I think it's just important to include this stuff, as I think it is very relevant to this subject. And the Warrior starter set, I've put a £32.50, question mark. Why question mark? Simply because they haven't actually told us the price of this. I know, how convenient would that be, but Games Workshop still likes to keep us in the dark about a lot of things for I don't know what reason. I presume to make more money, but a lot of the time it doesn't actually make sense. So the £32.50 price came from the price of all the starter boxes for Warhammer 40k, and the reason why I do that is because that came out last year. Indomitus was the same price as Dominion, or maybe it was 120, so maybe £5 cheaper, but very similar. The 3 starter boxes you get, span off from Indomitus, are very similar to the 3 boxes you get here. Obviously different models and stuff, of course, being Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but the sort of amount of models and the sort of units involved is very similar. So that's why I'm quite safe by saying this price, but I put a question mark next to it because it could change, but it should be this amount. So what I thought I'd do is I'm going to read through, and I've done it the same with the other star boxes as well. I'm going to read through what they've actually put on the Warhammer community article when they basically show this off and tell you my thoughts on this, and if I agree with it, if I don't agree with it, and really just to try and give you a bit of honesty in the sea of, basically trying to get you to buy their shit. So the Warrior starter set, it says, is ideal for people playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar for the first time. It's been designed for people who want to learn or teach the basics of the game without worrying about advanced rules. This box contains everything you need for a good scrap, with 18 miniatures, including a mystical Knight Arcanum and 5 Vindicators. So Knight Arcanum, the little Stormcast wizard, and the Vindicators, the Stormcast guys with the shield and spears. And then it says, so therefore the Stormcast Eternals Redeemer Conclaves, and then facing them off is going to be against a cunning killer boss. So again, shows you the killer boss, amazing. And his Stab Grot assistant, even better. And 10 loathsome Gut Rippers. So the killer boss, like I said, like the hero orc. And then the Gut Rippers are simply like the orcs with the shield and spears. Nice comparison to the Stormcast. So you get that, and then it says on top of that you get dice, range rulers, a double-sided gamer mat, 2 manuals and war scrolls for all the units. With fewer rules to learn, this is a great option for younger Warhammer hobbyists. And to be honest, as much as I like to, kick Games Workshop as much as I can, when they deserve it, I think that's a good summary. I think that's pretty good, and I think where we're talking about with Dominion, £120. That's a big investment if you're not really too sure if you want to commit fully to this game. Like I said, it's a big way to get started, and also not just for money, but you're just swamped with all these models, aren't you? And you just feel like maybe this is a bit too much, and you get a bit overwhelmed with it. It sounds silly, but it's true. We all feel like that with projects. Like if you buy like a used army on eBay or something like that, and you get it and it's such a good deal, and but none of it's painted, and a lot of it is unbuilt, and you get it and you just go, oh my god, this is like 300 models here, and it's just too much to like actually crack into it and get started. You might feel like that a little bit with Dominion. So the Warrior starter set is the smallest of these starter boxes, and I really feel like it's very good for you if you are brand new and you don't want to commit too much, or maybe you just don't have loads of cash really available that you want to put into this, which is absolutely fair enough. And for you, this I would say is going to be a good starter set. And if you could split this with someone, again, price changeable, but for the sake of, let's say, £32, £16 each roughly. So that is a pretty good price to get you started, and you can guarantee that these models will be more expensive bought separately. Even though we don't know their prices yet, they will be, I'm sure. And it gets you some dice, it gets you some, instead of using a tape measure, like a nice one of those wacky sticks, and it gets you the war scrolls. So you've got, instead of having to go on the website and look at the war scrolls on the app, you've got them right there. So it's nice and easy, and you get like a little mat to play on. Again, that map, I'm pretty sure it's like paper, but it gets you something to get started, doesn't it? So I am a fan of this, particularly if you are brand new to it and you like the models, and if you haven't got a mate who likes the models as well. I'd say this is maybe a bit harder to split because it's a bit smaller, but there's no harm in painting up the other models. If you really like the Crawl Boys and you go, I don't really know how to do the Stormcast, and you don't really want to go for the effort of selling them, with a Stormcast, just build and paint them. It's only 6 models, isn't it? And you might go, actually, I really like the Stormcast, that's going to be my second army, and then you're already sold on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar pill. So you get that, and then you get this little booklet here that says the core rules. Again, I believe this is what is free online. This is not the core rule book. It's not like, the core rule book's £40, and then you get this for £30.50, and you get everything else with it. It's not that. It's just going to be like a little booklet with the rules, what I'm pretty sure will be free online. And then you get a little like a little reference book here to try and guide you through to playing the game as well. So I honestly think that's probably quite good if it's £32.50. If it's like £50, then they're shooting pretty high. But the next one we're going to look at is the next step up. So as you can see, we've got the Warrior starter set here, and then have a look at that picture. And then you can just see how it expands and how you get that much more with it. So it says so this is the Harbinger starter set. So £65, again, questionable because I'm comparing it to the 40k ones, which I'm pretty certain if Games Workshop plays their cards the same, obviously, this should be the same price. So this is double the price, though, of the Warrior one. So what are you going to get from this? So it says the Harbinger starter set is a step up in both complexity and swag. So this box set contains the same great troops as the Warrior set, but there are loads of extra goodies here, including 2 powerful heroes. So the Harbinger set comes with 32 push-fit plastic miniatures. I don't know if it said push-fit on the last one, but they will be push-fit as well. It then says, you get 10 Stormcast Eternals, including 5 Noble Vindicators, so the same as the last ones we saw, the Spears and Shields, and 3 Elite Praetors. Again, I haven't read these names enough to stick in my head, so mispronouncements will happen. And then they're led by the imposing Lord Imperatant, who is the guy with the little Gryph-hound pet, and his faithful Gryph-hound, as mentioned. And then a raid against 10 Brutish Gut Rippers and 10 Hobgrot Slitters under the baleful eye of a Swamp Caller Shaman. His unpleasant pot grot will be joining him. And then it says, on top of that, you get all the stuff you need to launch your own Dawnbringer Crusade, basically the narrative of why people are fighting, kind of, for 3rd edition. You get dice, you get a range rulers, a double-sided gamer mat. Ooh, nice swag. You get manuals, you get war scrolls, rules references, and even cunning cardboard terrain you can fashion out of the underside of the box. Why are they not saying that about that? You get the little terrain feature there. I know it sounds small and silly, but you know, it's nice, isn't it? It's just like a little afterthought. It kind of feels like, but it's like it gives you a little bit of terrain for when you're just starting, doesn't it? So what do I think of this box? This is, like I said, double the price of the other one. Should you buy this one instead of the Warrior Star set? That's really is going to be the question people are asking. Again, simple as, like, if you want to commit that much more, get my words right, this one is going to be more aimed towards you, as it's, you know, more expensive, but you get more for you get more for your money with this. It's better value. All these models bought separately would be a lot more. And the nice thing I would say with this as well is that this actually pairs nicely with the Warrior Starter set, because you're not getting the same heroes. So they're not just chucking the same heroes at you and mass producing them, so making it cheaper for them. You are getting, for example, the Stormcast side, a Lord Imperatant, and if you bought the Warrior set as well, you have that Knight Arcanum as well. So, like, you're not just getting repeats of the same heroes, which is, again, nice because they're the same sculpts, aren't they? They're the same model, so you don't want a repeat of that. And again, with the killer, the Crawl Boys even, you're not getting the killer boss, you're getting the Swamp Caller Shaman as well, which is nice. So you're not getting duplicates there. Again, you're getting duplicates of the units. You know, you're getting more Gut Rippers and you're getting more Vindicators if you're the Stormcast, which is fine because you're probably going to want more of them anyway. So yeah, I don't really see that being a problem. And then you get like some more Hobgrots, you know, if you're playing as the Crawl Boys, and then you're going to get the like elite unit being the Praetors, was it, for the Stormcast Eternals. And like rules wise, you don't really get anything else. You basically just get in an elite unit for the Stormcast Eternals, a basic unit for the Crawl Boys, and then a different hero each for the Stormcast Eternals. Well, for the Stormcast and the Crawl Boys, I'd say the Stormcast are the winner here. They probably get a better deal in this Harbinger box set than the Crawl Boys, but the Crawl Boys still get a nice deal as well. So yes, I would like the Harbinger set as well. I would, after we look at the next one, I'll do like a comparison and tell you which ones you should get as like a whole. Because the Extremis Star set is £105, right? So this one is considerably more, and this is the biggest Star set they've got coming out. That's going to be fixed after, you know, Dominion's gone, of course. So it says the Extremis Star set gives you an awesome start in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Not only does it contain all of the models and extras you get in the Harbinger box, but it also includes the full rules for the game. Importantly, you also upgrade from a card gaming mat to a double-sided board. Very nice. And you get 5 stunning pieces of plastic Citadel scenery, including 1 Nexus Siphon and 1 Guardian Idol, 2 Domicile Shells, and 1 all-important pile pillars. In short, it's everything you need to get started. So, again, all those scenery names are brand new. I haven't actually read them out before. And this box set is, again, it's £105. So it's £20 less than Dominion. So at the moment in time where Dominion is still available, I would say that this is pretty good to be able to compare it to Dominion, rather than comparing it to these 2 other ones, the Harbinger and the Warrior one. So what are my thoughts if you compare this to Dominion? So firstly, if you've already been playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you might already have a bit of terrain and stuff set up. So I would say if you've already been playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, don't buy this one unless Dominion is no longer available and you really wanted the troops and the heroes and everything else you can get from this box that were in the Dominion box, which are probably more expensive to buy now in the future. Or if you really, really want the scenery, I would say otherwise, I mean, you're not really getting much from it, are you? It's literally just the Harbinger box, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just the Harbinger box, isn't it? See, it's just the Harbinger box with scenery. So the question is, do you really want to pay £40 more for that scenery? Now you might be there and you go, yes, I really like the scenery. Like, I think it looks pretty cool. You know, like also like the statue looks awesome. I think that's like the best scenery from this set. But it's £40 for that scenery bundle. Yes, you get the map. Don't care about the map at all. Like, if you really care about a map, buy one online or buy a gaming board. Or don't just, you know, use that. That's only going to get you so far. You would struggle to play with all those models on that map, as an example, in my honest opinion. So I would say get this if you really want the scenery. It's as simple as that. So to compare these three boxes, so the Warrior Starter set is perfect if you're literally just trying this. Like, you're not really too sure you want to fully commit to Age of Sigmar, but you want to get enough to let you be able to, maybe you and your mate play against each other, or so you can start your Crawl Boys, and then you get obviously like 5 more models being the Stormcast, or 6 more models, or vice versa, whatever you're after. It's not a big investment, is what I'm trying to say. The Harbinger one, I would say this is if you want to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Like, it's not like I'm going to dip my toes in. This is the Warrior Starter set was for that. This is you want to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but you might not have loads and loads of money at the moment, but you want enough to get nice and started. This is the one for you. You'll get in 3 units for each side, you know, a hero for each side and 2 other units, which would work really well. If you can split this with a mate, even better. And then the Extremis starter set, if you really like the Harbinger starter set and you just want to, you go, right, I can play this on my, you know, the little paper mat I get of it, and I can turn the box upside down, and that's fine. But I just want the battlefields feel more alive, more dynamic. You know what? I'm going to pay the extra £40 to get the scenery. And there you go. But really, the difference between the Harbinger and the Extremis is as simple as, do you want to pay £40 for the scenery? It is as simple as that, really, when it comes to it. And in the meantime, when Dominion is available, I would say, and you really want to invest, you're committed, like you say, you want to invest to get a really good start in Warhammer Age of Sigmar 3rd Edition, and you love the armies, everything else that we've already talked about, Dominion beats these 3 boxes, is what I'm going to say to you. I may one day buy the Extremis box because I like the terrain, if the deal was good enough going forward, because the terrain will be available separately. But if like the terrain separately, it's like, I don't know, £60, and then it's like all those models bought separately, again, a lot of money. It's like, well, I might as well just buy the Extremis box. So, again, that's speculating for the future. But those are the 3 boxes that they've shown off yesterday as an example. So, the next thing to talk about are things like the hobby sets they're going to sell alongside this. And again, I've taken what they've put on the article here, and I'm going to read through it and let you guys know my thoughts. So, the first one is the Paint and Tool set. So, it says, yes, while the armies available in the 3 starter sets are easy to build and don't need glue, trust me, they need glue, you still need to snip them off their sprues, dust them down, and give them a look of paint. So, basically, just what I was saying at the start of the video, the very basic things that you need to actually put your models together really and use them on the table. So it says, this set contains a pair of clippers, a mold line remover, and a starter brush to get the basics painted. On top of that, you get 13 paints in a 12mm pot. So if you're wondering what that is and you're fairly similar to Age of Sigmar, I'm pretty sure it's a lot. I don't want to get this wrong. I think this is right. Pretty sure it's along the 12mm. So, you know, this is like a wash pot. So you know that size, and this is what I'd call like, well, it's 12 millimeters, but it's like a standard size kind of pot. They're all that sort of size, and they should be. See, when you see the washes here, like there's literally an aggregate surf shade in that picture. It's not going to be that big. It'll be half the size, roughly. So, yeah, so you need all this stuff. It's saying, it says this set contains a pair of clippers, a mold line remover, and a starter brush to get the basics painted. On top of that, you get 13 paints in 12mm pots, as it said, including all the essential colours you need to get both forces ready, as well as technical paint to ensure your bases look great. It's the perfect complement to any of the sets above. It says, okay, and then the next bit is going to lead into the next box, so I'll give you my thoughts on this. Now, as well as I can tell you, you want to get this colour, you want to get this colour. If you're painting crawl boys, you only need these colours. There's a bunch of colours here you don't need. Everything else, this is a good way to start if you are brand new to Warhammer Age of Sigmar, as it's good to just have a range of colours. If you go, but I don't want any yellow on my Stormcast Eternals, as an example, you know, from these box sets. Right, there may be a point in about 9 months from now that you bought something and you want something on that to be yellow. It's just nice to have all these extra paints, and obviously don't go crazy. You don't need hundreds of paints, because I definitely don't have 100 paints. I may do, but that's over a long collection of collecting paint mainly, which is very expensive. But you'll find uses for these paints later, so don't worry about that. And as much as, like I say, I could tell you, like, oh, you want to paint your cruel boys or whatever this certain way to make the best technique, blah blah blah, and then you need the least amount of paints. At the end of the day, you're going to paint your models how you want to paint them. So I find it quite hard to tell you what paint you should buy and what paint you shouldn't buy. But what I can tell you is that this is at a discounted price compared to if you bought them all separately. So I think this is quite a good way to start. It gets you that paintbrush. Again, like I said, Citadel ones, you know, they're expensive what they are, but you know, it's chucked in with this box at the end of the day. It gets you the clippers, it gets you the mold line remover. It doesn't get you a knife, but like you could use, like I said, any hobby knife, any Stanley knife would be fine. Just obviously be careful, especially if you are younger, with those tools. But yeah, so this seems pretty good. Remember, it has 2 models in the front of the box, but it doesn't include any models. However, going into the next thing, it says perhaps you've already chosen your faction and want to collect them and them alone. We've got you covered there too, with 2 smaller paint sets. Yeah, you've already chosen your faction, as long as they're Stormcast or Cruel Boys, that's fine. So this one is the paint and tools. So basically for the Stormcast Eternal, so it's the it says paint and tools, but it's the Vindicators paint set. So what you get here is you're going to get 2 models. And then, well, I'll read what they say, shall I? So it says, this neat set is great for any budding paragon of order with 6 paints, a starter brush, and 2 push-fit Stormcast Eternals. It's the perfect taste of more to come, or the ideal bolster to your forces if you're splitting one of the starter sets with a friend or a family member. So what I will say with this is... I'm just trying to look at the paints and see if this gives you... like, so what they've done here is how these 2 models here are painted are not as good as how they look like if I quickly go back to... oh, you probably won't be able to see it, but yeah, they're too far away. But they're not as nicely painted as these Vindicators. But that's because, respectively, they've only used the paints from what it looks like in the box set. And the same with the... texture paint they've done for the base as well. So I think that's quite cool. It shows you an example of what you can make out of these box sets. And I think, like, if you do want to go the Stormcast Eternals as an example, and you do want to paint them in the traditional gold and blue, again, paint your models how you want. So apparently now you need your opponent's permission, but paint your models however you want. This is enough. Again, you're going to need glue, you're going to need clippers, you're going to need like a hobby knife or like a mold line remover. But this set is a nice way to get your models painted. And I'd even say, if you don't have loads of money to get started in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, as good as that warrior set is, as an example, like I was talking about earlier, the smaller one of these starter boxes, I would say you're probably better off getting, like, and you want to go Stormcast Eternals as well, you're probably better off getting the Vindicator paint set, because you get 2 models to paint, and then you get in your paints, and you get in your brush. And I'll be honest with you, like, buying paints and, you know, hobby supplies, that's the boring part of buying things for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. You know, obviously, isn't it? You know, you want to buy all the models, but it's you're going to need the paint. Rather than buying all these models, pushing them together, not gluing them, and not painting them. Again, if you're just starting, that's fine. But later on, you know, it's nice if they are painted. So I think this is quite a sensible choice, and it's cheaper than buying all the stuff separately. So I'm a fan of this, and then I imagine the next one, which is about the Cruel Boys, is going to be something very similar. So again, apologies that says paint and tool set there. I thought I'd change that. But it's the Gut Rippers paint set. So it says, not to be outdone, the Cruel Boys are getting a paint set of their own. This box also comes with 6 paints and a starter brush, as well as free push fit gutter rippers. So it says it's ideal for anyone choosing to collect the vicious hunter killers of the swamps of Gur, the Cruel Boys, basically. And you might go, oh, you know, in this box you only get 2 models, in this box you get 3. The Gut Rippers are probably a bit smaller than the Stormcast, and also like not as powerful in the game. So that's the reason there. But again, it's pretty much the same sort of thing I'm going to say for what was the Stormcast Eternals, is that it's cheaper than buying all these things separately. You're going to get the basic paints you need, especially if you're new, especially if you're brand new. You're going to get the basic paints you need, and you're going to really get some models to test them out on, and you get free. So if you fuck up the first one or something, you've got 2 more obviously to try out on. And what I will say with these prices as well, there's question marks here. So the reason why I say £22.50 is because I'm comparing this to like the Necron starter set for Warhammer 40k, or the paint starter set for them. It's the same with the Vindicators as well for the Space Marines. And then the 40k has got the paint and tool set for £27.50, and it's literally the same name. It's only the names of the units, like the Vindicator paint set and the Gut Ripper paint set, that has a different name to the 40k boxes. So that's why I pretty am sure, unless Games Workshop are just going to do their usual price hike, it should be £22.50, but at most it won't be more than £25, you would hope or think. And what I will say is that if you are, you've already been playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I would say, you don't need to worry about these paint sets really at all, because you should already have paint. If you've already been playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar for a few years, you don't have any paint, shame on you, really, is all I'm going to say. Feel sorry for your opponents. But things like the Extremis starter set is still going to be relevant if you're already playing Warhammer Age of Sigmar 4th edition. The Harbinger starter set, same. And the Warrior set, if you want to dip your toes in Cruel Boys or Stormcast, it's one for you. Otherwise, if you have already been playing the Dominion one, not Indomitus sets, obviously 40k, the Dominion one is going to be the one for you. And then the last thing I just want to say, and this is just directed to people who are brand new, is where to play. So again, at this point, you've bought your rule books, your dice, your tape measures, your clippers, your knives, everything else, your models. You've chosen what army you want to play. Where should I actually play my games? Now, I've got a selection of pictures here because I just wanted to give you a variety. You can play on amazingly fantastic crafted boards, like some of these ones from like Warhammer World, as I've got as an example here. Fantastic, lots of time has been poured in to make these really thematic, cool, like just incredible boards that I've seen. Or you could play or something like, you see people have done their own houses here, where there's like a cool, like, witch tower here in a graveyard, or like a medieval castle here with a river, which is cool. But then you've got the other side of things where you can play with just cardboard boxes. And really, obviously, you can play whatever you want, but when I say things like cardboard boxes, that's if you're brand new. There's something that when I was like, brand new to the game when I was younger, there was a thing you called floor hammer, which you were just, using cereal boxes and stuff as terrain. And there's nothing wrong with that when you're getting started. But what I will say is that if you're getting started and there's a local games store nearby, go there. They've probably got tables. Hopefully you can use their terrain. But this is mainly kind of if you're playing at home and stuff, and you think, oh, what can I use? There's literally like kitchen roll tubes and all those sort of ththings being used in this example. So you can just be creative. You can go, oh, what happens if I, tape that tube to this tube and I make like a tunnel? Go to your heart's content and let your imagination grow from there, really. But I just wanted to say that, don't think, oh, I can only play on things like this, how am I going to make something like that? You don't have to. You can play very basic and build your way up. And then what I'd also say as well, going into this, is you might be watching this, you might go, well, I want to get into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, 3rd edition, but I don't want to play the Cruel Boys or the Stormcast, and it seems like I've only talked about them in this video. And that's quite simply because Games Workshop's very much said those are the two armies that they want you to play in 3rd edition. But of course, like when they start these new editions, they pick 2 armies they focus on, and those are the armies they picked. Like, you know, in 2nd edition it was Nighthaunt when they came out, and the Stormcast Tunnels. But there are many Star collecting boxes available for different armies in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I've done a whole load of videos on how to start certain armies in Age of Sigmar, so you can go check that out if you would like to. There'll be a playlist of it come up at the end of this video, or you can search for it on my channel, whatever is easiest for you. So don't worry, you haven't been forgotten, but really, you know, 3rd edition has focused on the easiest way to start it is by going Cruel Boys Stormcast Tunnels. It's as simple as that. All the Cruel Boys are basically war clans. So that is that. And something I just want to do a little sneak peek is that in the next video we will be talking on this sort of series. We'll be talking about the most reliable battle tomes for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So I've done a list here which I'll be talking about what armies to start, what are safe, what aren't, what are going to get updated soon, what should you wait for, what should you just go ahead and go to your heart's content. We'll be covering that in a future video. So just in case you're wondering, you go, well, I want to talk about my army, you know, stick around for them basically. But yes guys, so that is the end of this video. So I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope basically this video is mainly aimed towards beginners, like I say, and I hope I helped you out a little bit just to answer some questions really, so you can take that plunge into what is a fantastic game. What I will also say is if you are new, or even if you're not new, feel free to click on the link in the description of this video to my Discord, because my Discord, in case you're not too sure what that is, basically I'm thinking like a big messenger group that's all about Warhammer, so everything that's important. I've got one of those called Agent Nagash of Discord. Some fantastic people in there. We're like 320 odd members. And in that Discord, there's always new people joining. There's always people trying to help out, people trying to get into the game and answer any questions they have. So if you're sort of like brand new, you watch this video, you're wondering where to go from now, join the Discord and ask any questions you've got, because like we've all got a wealth of experience in this game. We're happy to try and help you get into it and enjoy it as most as possible. So with that guys, like I say, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did so, please as always like, subscribe and comment down below, as all those things massively help the channel. If you could also smash the bell notification, why I ask you to do these things really. So like the videos, it shows to me that you enjoy this sort of content and it encourages me to make more of it. The other thing it does as well is it helps out the channel on YouTube, because basically YouTube sees that people are enjoying this video, and then what they do is they go, oh, we'll recommend this video to other people who aren't aware of the channel. So if you'd like the video, that'd be amazing, and it lets me, you know, see if I should do more content on this sort of thing. And then by subscribing to the channel at the end of the day, that's how the channel gets bigger. The bigger and better the channel gets, the better the content I can make for you guys, of course. And then the other thing as well is by smashing the bell notification, it makes the channel basically really help out us on the analytics side of YouTube. Like people not pressing the bell notification is basically what the channel suffers at the most. So if you can smash that bell, that'd be amazing if you've already liked and subscribed. And also it means that you'll never miss a future one of your the videos here at Agent Nagash. So make sure you press that if you are enjoying the content, and then comment down below any questions you've got, as this is like a beginner aimed video. Comment any questions you've got and I'll be trying to help you out as best as I can. And if there's anything else you'd like to add, if you're an experienced player, you go, oh, we could start by going this angle and stuff, that's absolutely fine. And like I said, in this video, it's not a case of me telling you every single way to start Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but it's more of reviewing how Games Workshop is telling you how to start it, and then which way you can go from. Like I say, you've got Star collecting boxes, you've got eBay, Facebook, all those sort of things. But I talked a lot about that on how to start Age of Sigmar as a whole, so I didn't just want to repeat everything from that video in this video, so that's why I haven't really mentioned that stuff as much. But yeah, comment that stuff down below. If you'd like to support the channel a step further, I have got a Patreon and a YouTube membership, which means that if you click the join button next to the subscribe button, it'll allow you to become a member here in Agent Nagash, which means you can give anything from just £1 a month, or I've got a link to my Patreon down below, where you can give anything from just $1 a month. And what that means is all that money goes straight towards supporting the channel, massively helps out the channel. If it wasn't for anyone who would support that way, I wouldn't be doing this. As I always say, that if YouTube was a business, channel will be making like a loss every month and all that sort of thing, with all the time, money and effort and stuff I put into it, but it allows me to justify everything I put into it by these people supporting me that much. So if you'd like to support the channel, please click the join button or a link to my Patreon. That would be absolutely amazing. And the people who made that decision, these are brilliant people, are going to be, like I say, my patrons, YouTube members. So I'm going to read their names out now. So we've got My biggest support is my Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, who is going to be Filq. So thank you so much for that, Filq. It's really, really amazing the support you can give me at that level, and it's absolutely amazing and incredible for you to do so. So thank you so much, and please keep it up. And then my Morgasts, who are going to be Bleed Red, Necropolis, and Edward P. Thank you so much for your continued support. It massively, like I always say, makes a huge difference, and you always do deserve a shout out for your help there. And then my vampires, who are, like I say, the core that keeps Age of Nagash going. It's going to be Mir, Ben C, Rouse321, David A, Dragoonity, Ronni H, Darren L, SpareBear, Krista H, Northdrop, Nathan F, Andrew G, Wiggy Whooty, Anthony R, Nathan F's. Thank you all so much for allowing me to keep this up, as you guys are very generous in how much you support the channel as well. And of course my Necromancers, who is Jacq.l, RadiationRiley, AW77, Dice Sagas, WolfNick, Michal W, Cranky Wombat, Madcap, Christopher C, Krista F, James S, Thomas B, Steve T, James T, Patrick F, JJ, R Christopher, and Sception. Thank you all so much for allowing me to keep this up. If, like I say, you can support, click the join button or the link to my Patreon down below. But if you can't do that, no worries at all. All I ask, if you do enjoy the content, is like the video, subscribe, and press the bell notification. And if you think you already have pressed all those things, please just double check for me, because for some reason YouTube likes to like subscribe people and stuff for some reason. And beyond all that, guys, I just hope that you enjoyed this video today. I hope you learned something. I hope I managed to help you out. If you've got any more questions, like I say, put them in the comments down below, and I'll try and help you best I can. And if you think you know someone else who would enjoy this video, appreciate it, make sure you share it with them. And until next time, remember that you gotta stay safe out there. Not gonna do the complete outro yet. I will remember. You gotta stay safe out there. Make sure you wear a mask. Make sure you stay hygienic. Make sure you stay safe, and make sure you keep your hands nice and clean. So that means when you're rolling dice in 3rd edition, you'll roll better. It's just simple science. I've got to say that until everything's fine in the world again, obviously. And then, more importantly, remember until next time, that Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash. And as you haven't been able to see it for ages, here is like the t-shirt. As I do want to show that I have bought a t-shirt, and I did wait for this t-shirt to come, which took too long. But anyway, see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video.